Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. I hope this finds you well. So we finally got a nice pump on Caspa, so I thought I would do another update. It's looking a little bit exciting at the moment, and we might as well take a look at a few things to see where they stand at the moment. The Wyckoff accumulation schematic that I've been watching is looking nice still. We had this little deviation down here, which wasn't really a deviation. If you really look at this closely, you can see it just kind of tested more of the meat of this like this kind of accumulation area. So you can't always expect price to just bounce off of a wick, you know what I mean? So you come in here, it's more so, it kind of more so came down and hit these candle bodies, which are going to be stronger than a wick. So that's to be expected. You can't expect price to just hit a wick and bounce up, you know? So, and then also really importantly, price came down and it hit these moving averages, the 20 and 21 week SMA and EMA. These are just general moving averages for pretty much any asset. You can go back and back test how price responds to them in an uptrend. And typically in an uptrend, they hold as support. So they're one of the best price points you can get. So when price came down here, kind of an easy buy, especially on a really bullish, valuable asset like Caspa. Kind of, you could just pretty much press the green button because that's the best you're gonna get. Oftentimes, if you come back and look at this, for example, right, you can see it held. So there's really no surprise, no surprise. I think it just comes down, if you feel fear at this sort of level. I was sensing that people were getting very fearful. And I think that just comes down to inexperience and not really either inexperience or just not really like looking at charts and seeing how price responds to those moving averages. And you can also look at the RSI divergence indicator. And I'm not on the 3-day here, so let me switch that back and see how price responds when it dips into this oversold area. That doesn't typically mark the bottom. What marks the bottom is, well, it's a little bit lagging when it actually gets down here. Let's see. You can kind of go back and look at all these areas. Well, actually, what really is interesting to me is when it flips green finally. That's when price really starts pumping. So I just marked out the vertical points where it flips green, and you can just see, go up and look. You can pause the screen if you want to really take a closer look at that. See what price does after it flips green, or try it for yourself on TradingView. And I'll drop a link down if you're not able to get the 3-day chart. You'll be able to get that with a subscription to TradingView. So I'll drop a link down in the description, which I think will give a little discount, a little affiliate link. You can check that out if you like. So anyway, and then also we have so far we got a bit of a, depending on how the price action ends up on the week, when the week closes, we have a nice hammer candle here coming off of the 20 and 21 week, and that happens sometimes, and it's pretty nice price action to follow. You can also see this on the Bitcoin chart. So I still have this mapped out regarding the halving and potential peaks. You can see sometimes price will on the week, for example, it will wick up from these moving averages, and it's generally pretty bullish. So you can kind of come back and take a look. So like things like this, these big hammer candles. This one was even technically like a, well, not bearish, but it closed red. So it almost doesn't matter. It just you see the price. People come in and they buy these moving averages very quickly. So just going all the way back on Bitcoin, it's pretty typical. So when you see that on Caspa, I take that as a very bullish indication that people are aware of these moving averages and they buy it because it's pretty well used, and maybe we can see it in the stock market too. We could see how that price reacts. I mean, obviously these are an index, so it's not an individual stock, but you can generally see these moving averages get used everywhere, right? Could look at something like, let's see if people are using on NVIDIA. See, so everywhere. So when you come back and you look at the Caspa chart, something to be aware of. It doesn't have a super long history, right? It's a relatively new thing. It just launched in November. The mainnet launched in November of I think 2021. So, and then trading on exchanges back in 2022. So not a super long history, but you can see that people are using them. And then also we have the Caspa risk visualization, casping.streamlit.app, if you want to check it out. You can see here more confirmation that price is in fact a low risk price point right now. And anytime it gets down to this lower end of this range, it's generally low risk. I believe this is, so this was put up on March 17th, and it's now the 21st. So this is not completely up to date. I don't know if it's my browser or the website. It's just not updated. But we'll check out the risk visualization. So yeah, it's the website, so it's not totally up to date. So you could have caught the Pico low risk level maybe a few days ago. And right now we bounced up a bit. We're almost getting to 15 cents. And as far as upside targets go, I can readjust this now because we actually got, let's see how low we got. Let's see. I mean, I think on the next swing it can potentially go up above 40 cents. I mean, it could even wick up to 50 cents, and depending on what Bitcoin's doing, then it could even just go higher. You know, we might be at the point in the market cycle where it's going for higher price points. It could just blast through. So that's my strategy. I don't try to play the swings like selling and then buying back lower. I don't do that. I'm waiting for certain price points and market caps. And if you want to, learn more about my strategy, I have a private Discord server, the Ski Bum Trading Discord server, and feel free to join that via the Patreon link in the description, and I share all my trades there and my strategy regarding Caspa if you're also a Caspa holder. And I do also track other things too, like the stock market and Bitcoin. So this I shared in the Discord before it happened, and you can see what happened. This to me was fairly obvious, I guess you could say. It seemed like it had a high chance of happening. So things like this, right? We came down pretty easy. and we pretty much just hit that level that I highlighted. So if you look at that, um, I saw some different projections out there. Some people were saying 58K, some people were saying 53, and I said 61K, and we got about 60,800, which is pretty damn close, if I'm being honest. Um, so yeah, it's just a matter of recognizing patterns, like um, again, like this cup and handle on Caspa way back when at 3 cents. Caspa's done a few of these. If you're not watching for patterns and you're not familiar and trusting them, then it's going to be harder to trade, and you're going to have kind of unrealistic price expectations. So it's good to have a repertoire of patterns in your head that you can just kind of look at and get a feel, and also, yeah, knowing how to use the tools and indicators on TradingView. So for all that, Patreon, Discord, if you guys want to join that, if you're interested in learning more about technical analysis, that's really what I do. So, and I'm a long-term, high time frame swing trader, meaning I more so just invest heavily at the lows, on cycle peaks and bottoms. I mean, I invest in at the cycle bottoms ideally, and then scale out at the peaks, and that's really more so what I do. I do some low time frame stuff, but that's a much smaller percentage of my portfolio, as I think it should be, because it's much higher risk to be doing low time frame than it is to just be trying to nail um, peaks and bottoms. If you can get this and just hang out until it's hitting higher Fibonacci levels, then your ROI is likely going to be better than somebody that's literally trying to. Someone who's trying to time all these little things here, like, good luck with that. Have fun. I mean, you can do it, but it's like you got to be paying attention very closely, and then it's also just more risk, because if you're scaling out and then trying to get back in here, but you wanted to get back in here and you miss it and it's up here and you got to buy back higher and then it goes down, and you're like, oh, did it just peak? Is it going to go down here? And you just get all chopped up. What's the point? You just want to scale in on the lows, scale out at the top. It's way better for me, at least. That's what I prefer to do. I mean, and I can just spend more time doing other things with my life. So that's how I like to do it. And if that resonates with you, then you can come in and you can join the Patreon and get a link to the Discord server. This is available right here in my bio. And so yeah, so we'll see what happens with Caspa here. Things are looking pretty good, and I don't really expect. I don't expect it to come back down and break below here. I don't. I mean, it could come back down and retest this, but we'll see. I think that we got such a strong reaction here off of the 20 and 21 week SMA and EMA that the likelihood of it dropping below and failing to hold this again is pretty low, in my opinion. So any of these, if we get any more retests of this, I think that would be a pretty strong buy level, again, as it already was. So, and then just more confluence again with this chart, especially on the 3-day. You come down here, and again you look at this, you can see it's turned up, and after it gets into this oversold territory and turns up, once it flips green, that's pretty much going to lead to a really big pump uptrend. And so I think that when that happens, I think we're looking at potentially above 40 cents. And then there's more confluence on the Fibonacci if you do it this way too, drawn on this range. So we're again getting above 40 cents here. So that is potentially the next target, above 40 cents, and it can go above the full Fibonacci extension, like down here, for example, we came down here, we went above it. Ooh, I thought it was going to go to maybe 3 cents because we had like 2.7 cents here, and it just went above 3 cents. And so it went up to 4.2-ish cents. So I think up here we can probably do the same thing, especially now that there's higher total market cap in crypto and there's just more money sloshing around, really. So we'll see what happens, and then Bitcoin. We'll look at the potential for when the cycle peak is again. So if you missed the last video, I talked about two potential scenarios. You got this first one A and the second one B. And the first one is basically from the time Bitcoin breaks out, 119 days, breaks out from the previous all-time high. Took 119 days about to reach the peak, the first peak, which is kind of a more technical peak of the last cycle, which would, in this current cycle, would put it in July or August, sometime in the summer, maybe mid to late summer. And then if you go by the halving schedule, which a lot of people seem to be a fan of, then we would potentially be looking at the beginning of 2025, which could be preferable, honestly, for if you're holding altcoins and stuff, because it'd be more time for things to pump. But hey, who would be opposed to making more money quicker? But that would throw people off, I think, because people are gonna maybe be more focused on the typical timing with the halving. So if it happened here in this summer, which it could just technically, based on the charts, then I think people might be thrown off by this. But if it's getting up to these Fibonacci extensions here this coming summer, you're going to want to be a little cautious, in my opinion. So I think the narrative is going to be about, if that happens, about the ETFs and Bitcoin ETF, and just things can go way higher. People are going to be calling for $1 million, like they always do, or even 500,000, which could very well just keep people from taking profit. And I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine Bitcoin getting beyond 250K. Anywhere from 200 to 250K could be the peak. So, or maybe even less. Maybe people get faked out and it peaks at 150K or something like that this time. So it's always good to just take some off the table, just so you don't totally waste the cycle. Just scaling out is good rather than trying to go all in one shot. Although, to be honest with you, if I'm being honest, I just sold everything in one day. Last time I sold all my crypto when Bitcoin hit 49K the other day, and then I was calling for a bear market pretty much. I just sat out on the second peak, but I started pretty much my perspective was that we were in a bear market, and I said so. These are just a few posts, but I was pretty much bearish for a good long while. People didn't really care, because people don't want to hear that when the market's peaking. You're a black sheep. You're a black sheep, but really you're a wolf, because you're out and you took your profit, and now you're waiting for the bottom, and that's what I did. So that's what my strategy is. I just wait for the primo buy levels and the primo levels to scale out at. So so hopefully this was helpful. I'll keep doing some more updates. I'm going to try to pump out some more videos as the market is heating up more. And so give a follow on Twitter if you're not already following. If you're just finding me on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube if you're also just finding me here. And if you want to learn more about the technical analysis, you can you can come over to my bio and click the Patreon link and join via that way, and you'll get an invite link to the private ski bum trading Discord server. So I hope all this helped. we'll keep an eye on this, and make sure to subscribe and give a follow, and I'll catch you on the next time.